Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry. Documentary. All the Billie Eilish stans have watched this about 6 times by the time we're talking about this. Let's be real.
This is 4 out of 4 stars if you're a Billie Eilish fan, hands down. Unparalleled look into the life and times of Billie. It's like you're hanging out with that family. It's amazing. Holy crap.
Yeah, and that was my first point, is that I don't know if I've just been watching a lot of talking head documentaries. I feel like I have, like The Last Blockbuster and a handful of documentaries recently where it's a lot of people talking about institutions or topics. But I was just flabbergasted by the level of depth of access, number one, and the level of intimacy. Can we just say this? And I'm going to be the first to admit, I'm not the biggest Billie Eilish fan of her music. I respect her art. There's a couple songs by her I do enjoy. That's just not really my genre of music to begin with. I'm not an expert on it by any means. When it comes to music, judge me. I like country and I like rap. Those are my 2 lanes. I stay in them.
Whole
but I admire
opposite
Billie
spectrums
Eilish too. I admire Billie Eilish to a great degree, but moreover, though, the depth of access is amazing. But I'll just say this. I think that Billie Eilish in 10 years, maybe 5, she's going to cringe so hard she's going to pull a muscle watching her older self or her younger self. Like, there's so many moments here. She is going to be punching air watching this damn thing. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Hell, I mean, at 16 and 17, if you had a camera shoved in your face for all your life, you'd be, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have as many great moments, at least as her. I mean, she is a warrior throughout a lot of this. And I think it says something too about the collective psyche that Billie Eilish is among the biggest names in music today. And I think that tells you how goddamn depressed and lonesome we feel. It's not even just this generation. It's everybody. Her music is huge. When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Her album was enormous. And it still is. Like every song on that album is almost a single, I think. Yeah. So like she's like Shania Twain level huge with her first debut, and it's pretty amazing. I'm gonna narrow the focus here just for time's sake. We'll talk about it maybe for about 10 minutes. But what was the biggest? I'll give mine at the end. Because I've talked a lot. What is the biggest kind of takeaway, focal point? Something that you really enjoyed from this. Joe, I'll start with you.
I'll name 2. And real quick, I'll say this as well. I do agree with you. Like, you really do feel like you're with the family and everything. Because this documentary has that home video footage feel, man. Like, this feels like you're popping in the next into your VHS, the next tape after the next
literal
tape after
home
the next
video.
Tape. Literal home video.
It is shot like that, and then it is shot like for sure.
And it's such a cool way they made this documentary. As somebody, I like Billie Eilish. I'm not in love with her music and everything. I do want to eventually see her live, because I did love When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I think that's a great album. Everything she's released after that, including even the Bond song, I like it. I'm just not in love with it as much as that album. But my favorite parts of this documentary, I loved seeing the drawings that eventually became the music video concepts. I thought that was really cool as somebody who loved watching the art in her music video, especially for When the Party's Over. And then also, and this is something I knew just a little bit about her, but I'm glad like the documentary went into more about it. The whole concern about her being so anti-drug and her anti-alcohol stance at that age and being in that industry. And I'm glad Justin Bieber and her have like a great friendship too, because like there are so many times I was watching this documentary and I was drawing comparison to Bieber's upbringing in the pop industry and how much Billie has taken a stance against of like, what a lot of things that Bieber went through a young age that eventually led him through that path where he was pissing in Anne Frank's house and doing all that crazy stuff to then eventually cooling down and becoming an adult finally. But like I'm glad it like Billie from the get-go, ever since she like became this big icon, is just taking stances on stuff like that. It was so nice to see, and it's very inspirational to a lot of young girls out there, I think, too, or even just kids in general.
It kind of gave me like a Michael Jordan feel.
Yeah.
Where it was, because you know how Michael Jordan,
Dance,
if you don't know, obviously biggest basketball player in the world, but he famously stayed away from all the, I don't know about booze, but drugs. He stayed away from all that while the rest, like literally everyone else in the NBA was doing cocaine and shit.
Well, when he came to the Bulls, when he was the 3rd overall pick, the Bulls were known as a traveling cocaine circus.
Yeah, there you go. So seeing that was really cool. Joe, was that your second thing or your first thing?
That was both. Was just the whole like I love seeing the music videos like where you see the concept of them come from, because like I love the music videos art direction, especially for the ones I've mentioned. But the whole anti-drug thing, it was like, wow, that's really cool to see her actually talk about this. This was something I kind of knew about, because I heard so many people talk about like, oh, who gives a damn? Like, we all know how this is gonna go. She has this stance, and then she's gonna go down the beaten path like Bieber did, and it's just like, no, I don't think she is, guys.
This is a special documentary when it makes Justin Bieber look like the elder statesman in terms of the music industry. But no, you're absolutely right. Actually, now that I think about it, how cool it was seeing her, at least how the documentary made it look like. She had vision.
Yeah.
She has like a clear creative mind. That is beautiful in and of itself. But then she makes it happen. She's literally directing videos, music videos at the age of what, 17, 18, 19? Holy shit, dude. Now, like anyone can have a good voice, good voices at that age are a dime a dozen, right? Good musical instincts are a dime a dozen. And also you can train and work hard on that. Absolutely. Don't want to take that away from people. But having that level of creative, just energy at all, just that reservoir of energy that she has in terms of her creative mind, and then being able to execute it the way she does with extremely important help. Like at the point where I realized, like, shit, he really is 50% of Billie Eilish, It's Phineas, her brother Phineas. Like the name Billie Eilish might as well be like a band name where it's 50% her and 50% Phineas. It seems like, right?
There's plenty of interviews too that weren't shown in this and whatnot, or like that. She literally says like, yeah, everything kind of just goes through my brother and goes through me. Like we both have to agree on something before it ever gets greenlit.
They're basically a duo.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and it's actually a Carpenter situation. If you're familiar with them, they're not so well known these days. But,
it reminds me of Atticus Ross and Nine Inch Nails. My God.
Oh man.
Well, okay, the singer of Nine Inch Nails, one of my favorite bands, and I can't remember him right now. But it reminds me of those two.
Reznor?
Yeah, Trent Reznor. Thank you.
Trent Reznor. I had to think of it.
Those two to me, ever since like they paired up for like making music for films, and then they eventually went on to make music for Nine Inch Nails. It's like those two are just hand in hand with each other. And if one of them doesn't agree on something, they just don't do it. Like it's just like it reminded me a lot of that.
Carpenters, Nine Inch Nails, and Billie Eilish. That is a winning formula right there. The one thing that did stick out with me, I'll choose kind of the obvious, but you blink and you miss it at one point, is where the mom explains. Also, by the way, Billie Eilish's mom is Samara from Mass Effect.
Oh my God.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
She is Samara from Mass Effect. Steve, I don't know if that means anything to you, but for Joe, I think I just blew his mind. I looked it up. It is true. Anyway, is when the thing that stuck out to me most about the documentary is when Billie Eilish's mom was explaining how, people say that Billie Eilish, oh, she's depressed, she's spoiled, and it's just she sums up the worst of the generation. Nah, man, she just sums up the generation. And she goes through all the shitty things someone at her age and her generation and the people younger than her, and to a degree us as well, have gone through and will continue to go through in the years and decades to come. And she really does kind of represent her generation, which is why she's so big. I mean, one, she's obviously just different from everyone else. Like Bad Guy is almost revolutionary in terms of mainstream pop music and is a real paradigm shift. It kind of is a watershed moment, kind of all the cliches there, but I really do believe it. But also just her deeper aesthetics, her deeper psyche, and kind of how she functions, Billie functions, is such a summary, because you've got the end of the world through climate change, end of the world, drastic consequences from climate change. You've got this unbelievable political situation that we're in, that continues to be in even after the election. The two once in a lifetime economic recessions, right? Twice in a lifetime that we've seen this. And it is remarkable, a global pandemic, which happened before this documentary was even filmed. And it's like, yeah, no wonder that the person who gives off vibes of being depressed and is super introspective and like is very dark and twisted and just wants to break away from everything seemingly, no wonder that's popular. No wonder millions of kids and teenagers identify with that, because that is the angst of what we were all feeling. That is Nirvana, you know, that is freaking gosh, I'm losing all these punk creds right now, but you know, it is the sum of all fears all wrapped up and expressed through Billie Eilish, and it is quite deserving, I think.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, and I'll say the thing I was blown away with this whole documentary too, her eminently supportive parents. Yes. They're kind of like free spirits in their own way. Yeah. No knock on that though. Like they let their son and daughter really breathe and be their own. And Billie's mom has a lot of really good moments. Maggie, I think her name is. I didn't
Maggie
put
Braid,
it in my
yeah.
notes. Maggie,
I just think Samara.
You know, she's got some amazing moments in this. And like, she has that long monologue that Dom kind of just referenced. I won't really repeat it, about like all the problems this generation's faced. I mean, even before the pandemic, it was widely said and even reported that we're the first generation that is going to have a lower quality of life in terms of financial situation and just, you know, globally speaking, in terms of just, you know, devastation, money issues and everything than the previous generation. And you're seeing, I would say that's pretty friggin' accurate right now. But there's that moment that I liked. I also liked to, I was really surprisingly, almost shockingly moved by Justin Bieber's presence in this documentary.
Yeah, dude.
Because for two reasons. One, holy shit, her parents almost had to take her to therapy over her crush on Justin Bieber growing up. Number one, that alone deserves like another 20-minute documentary on how it got that bad. Number one. Number two, though, more importantly, is that I guess I didn't really realize it because, like I said, I can't speak for you guys. I know we're a little bit different ages and stuff like that, subtly, but, you know, slowly. Justin Bieber came on for me, or like at least like came up around 8th grade for me. And I remember I wasn't like, you know, it was like a total dynamic. All the boys hated him because all the girls loved him and all the girls fawned over him and everything. I don't know. I remember thinking One Time was a halfway decent song in 8th grade. I don't know. Wasn't the worst thing I ever heard.
Hey, look, man, Baby is always a bop. I don't give a damn. Hate me.
You know, I did hate One Less Lonely Girl. I really did hate that song because I kept telling my friends, there's still going to be 2 billion other lonely girls. What problem did you solve? But anyway, but like, no, the other thing though is that like we're now at that age now, or like we're older now, and so is Justin Bieber. He's been around long enough to influence this next generation of young pop singers. It's kind of like I said before, I like rap music.
Crazy.
It's kind of like how a lot of rappers now are citing guys like Soulja Boy and Bun B as influences. And you know, like 2000s rap, which is crazy because the generation before it was Biggie and Pac. But onto that though, they're very moving together, Billie and Justin. Like it's very moving, the sort of dynamic they create with each other, and just how absolutely gobsmacked and blown away she is, not only from meeting, but his verse on Bad Guy, which is not half bad either. His on the remix of Bad Guy when he sends that in, and how cute that is. Yeah, I like I said, we don't have too much more time over here. Zoom wants to get in on another part two of a sponsored Zoom intermission over here. But there's a lot to like about this documentary. I do think, kind of like its star, it's a little scatterbrained at times.
Yeah.
And it's long. It's very long at 2.5 hours. Billie Eilish fans wouldn't care if it was an hour longer. So like, it's kind of a moot point for us. But like, as a documentary, I think it kind of loses a little bit. But the last thing I'll say, and then I'll give my star rating and you guys can close, is that RJ Cutler, the director or the documentarian, caught lightning in a bottle. Like, it's hard to figure out who the hell is going to be the next big star, really, in any genre of music, but especially pop.
Yeah.
And he started filming this a couple years ago, before Billie Eilish was really on the radar. I mean, you see when she drops Ocean Eyes, her very first single, and gets a couple hundred listens on Spotify. And now look at her.
SoundCloud too.
And SoundCloud, excuse me.
Yeah.
SoundCloud's what I meant. And then at the end, she's collecting. She the only thing she was missing was a couple mops to clean house at the Grammys because she took home like 8 trophies that night. Her and Phineas, like he caught lightning in a bottle with this one. There's no way he could have foreseen even half of that. Like the movie ends with her getting tapped to do the No Time to Die theme, which is incredible. This is a solid 3 out of 4 stars for me, though. Thoroughly enjoyed this, and I think it's a real treat for Eilish fans because she's been kind of reticent about her own personality and her own sort of like inner workings of her upbringing. The last thing I'll mention, and I'll throw it over to you guys to close briefly, she kept that scumbag boyfriend around too damn long.
Okay, so what was the deal with that real quick? Just like 30 seconds. Was it that, what was he doing? What did he do that like messed her up? Like other than ghosting her, it seems.
He was just like ghosting her, and not to mention too,
and especially during the Coachella performance, the one that took a toll on her the most.
Unforgivable. Unforgivable. And the other thing too is nobody brings this up. Q was 20, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but it's worth mentioning. She's like what, 16, 17? He's like 21, 22.
Oh
nobody
shit.
Nobody brings this up. Like her parents didn't step in. I was gobsmacked by that. That doesn't get brought up at all. That he's 5 years older than her.
Yeah.
And
that's
she's
like illegal,
17,
dude.
You know, like I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not the authoritarian over here, but that's a little fucked.
I will say, okay, if you are a Billie Eilish fan, just even a solid fan, this is a 4 out of 4 stars for you because you're just hanging out with Billie. This is the most Billie you can ever get, more than Instagram or TikTok. If you like could care less about Billie Eilish, I don't think this documentary will pull you in and will wear you out, because it's not loose, but it is sparse on the direct explanation. So if you're not a Billie Eilish fan, I think you could use more of that. I think you could have used maybe 40 to an hour minutes less to be, if you wanted to cast a wide net and try and get more people into the Eilish mania or whatever, then it might be like a 2 out of 4 stars for you. But for me, as someone who is not the biggest fan, but it's just, I like Bad Guy. I like My Future is my favorite song from her.
That's a good song, man.
That is a good song.
So Charles Cornell turned me onto that song specifically. And he goes into it. He's a jazz musician. Like that song is like almost like a jazz ballad. Like it is beautiful and it is deep. But like as someone who's like a distanced fan, you know, I'm rooting for her, but not, you know, I actually need to listen to the whole album. I'm also gonna give this 3 out of 4 stars because it gave us incredible insight, and it's refreshing to see a documentary where it's not someone with a lapel mic sitting in a studio with the camera slightly diagonal or whatever, which is the standard, of course, on History Channel or whatever. And I give it 3 out of 4, just because it's lightning in a bottle. That really is the best way to put it.
Joe, sorry to shaft you, but quickly send us home.
3 out of 4 stars. It's great. It's good. I like that. It's a good documentary. I love her music. I love that first album, and it was a treat to see the whole inspiration behind it all, and like really enjoyed it. If you're a Billie Eilish fan, like 2 of my friends are, I already told them like just get your free week of Apple Plus TV and watch this because you're gonna love it. 3 out of 4 stars.
Yeah, you can't deny to recommending this to Billie Eilish fans, nonetheless. But even me, like I said before, I'm not the biggest pop music fan, and I never did listen to that album. I really want to, just because like even music snobs that I know love that album.
Yeah.
So I have to take a listen to that for sure. But the handful of songs I've heard by her, I like. And this documentary, it's not every day you get something this accessible. I was afraid I'd get hate for saying this, but I ended my review saying it, and I'll say this because I'm not being smug when I say this. I'm being genuine, and I here's hoping the next documentary isn't akin to on Billie Eilish isn't akin to the new Britney Spears documentary.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't think
I feel that too.
I don't think it will be because of her supportive family. But I'm just saying, I hope it's not.
I think that's the linchpin because as we know about Britney Spears now, about her father hoarding the money and all that stuff, that I think it's a different story. I will say this: go watch the Vanity Fair interview where it's the latest one. It's 1 year later, and she does it every year. So she has done the interview 4 times now, asked the same questions, and her latest one, which is in the middle of the pandemic, as of like November, December, or whatever. It is really introspective, and the introspective that woman has is remarkable. particularly for someone as an artist and the humility that she exudes. And I think I don't think it's going to end like as you feared, Steve. I don't think it's going to end like that.